you want to say.
Well, it is 8:30. Actually, technically it's 8:31. So I think we will jump in and start chatting. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for joining us tonight and jumping into, as I've said so many times, uncharted territory. And we know that some of you are still making up your mind, which we totally understand. But we thought one of the best things to do would be to kind of give you an overview of how we see this summer camp going online. One of the things that we want to do for tonight is specifically talk about what online camp looks like. Of course, we are all hoping the genie wiggles her nose and life will change come June 15th. But we can't absolutely guarantee that in any way, shape, or form. This meeting tonight specifically is about online camp. If the genie wiggles her nose and life changes, we would have a totally different meeting about that. So if you see that we're really heavy on that, it's because that's what this is about. It makes sense because we're all online talking about it. So what I thought I would do to start with first is kind of give you a general overview or some talking points on how we see camp going this way. Then I'm going to turn it over to Dave for a little bit for him to talk a little bit about the job of a Zoom coordinator and what he would be doing and some other folks behind the scenes would be doing. And then he'll talk a little bit about his shows and all of that as well that we're going to be doing. So my goal is that we are going to try to make camp as much like in-person camp online as we can. Of course, with definite limitations. But when we sat down and thought about being able to do this, we realized that our camp in some ways is sort of set up to make our transition to online a little bit easier, because we do break up into small groups. And one of the things that we will be doing is breaking up. I don't know if you know about Zoom, but they have breakout rooms. So we'll be using breakout rooms every single day, which I'll talk to you more specifically about when we talk about a sample day at camp. But we are going to do daily trivia. We're going to do joke of the day. We're going to do life lessons. We're going to do word of the day. We're going to have a movie day. We'll do theme days. We'll have hands-on projects. We'll be handing out Smarties. We'll be handing out camp prizes that will be delivered to your door or to your porch. Smarties probably once a week, not every day. My counselors would kill me if I made them drive to your house every day. But we'll probably also do things like small scavenger hunts, both indoors and outdoors. Of course, social distancing guideline we would adhere to that, but it would keep it more small, like around your house and that kind of thing. We're also going to have surprise guests. And we're going to do some fun share days, like, share your favorite thing in your bedroom and share, what it's like in your backyard or all of that. Like I said, we're going to definitely be working on breakout rooms, and we're going to have Zoom coordinators, which I'll let Dave talk more about, who will make it so that it's as smooth running online as it possibly can be. I know sometimes there's times where the screen freezes. I know sometimes we lose audio or we lose video or all of that. And the good news is Alex and I have both been teaching online for the last 5 weeks. And I remember that very first moment when we first got into that first class, we were so scared. We thought we didn't know what we were going to do. And we really worked hard at learning this platform and also working on curriculum that works best for online learning and finding a way that it's not just your kids staring at a screen, and finding a way for to do more hands-on with the actors. And I got to tell you, I have been so pleasantly surprised at A, not only how great the kids have been receptive to it, but B, how much fun I've had learning a whole new way to teach. It has been really, really fun. And I know there's some folks on the screen right now that could either give a thumbs up or, you know, if you give a thumbs down, that's fine too, but a thumbs up about whether or not it's been working. Because I think it really, I know for Alex and I, it has been, and it sort of inspired us. Oh, we got a thumbs up right there. Thank you, Romy. But it's been, it sort of inspired us to say, yes, we could do this online. And given the fact that we don't just get in camp and stand on a stage and everybody sit in the audience and watch actors. We have so many other components with our camp that we thought this would be the perfect chance for us to kind of go into this. So we're excited about that. There may be a little bit more parent involvement, especially if you're one of the folks that I'm looking at are not super young, but we do have some younger kids in camp that if your screen goes, if something happens to your screen, you have to get signed back on, or if something happens, there may have to be a little bit more parent involvement, as I'm sure you guys have all been getting quite used to these last few months. So, and of course, we're putting on some shows in the meantime. So we have 2 shows that we're going to be doing, and I'm going to let Dave talk about that as well. So Dave, do you want to share some thoughts about Zoom and about your 2 shows that you've written and all of that?
Sure. Yeah, so I think first I'll just address Zoom and some of the lessons we've learned about it. Most of them good, a couple of them not great. So with Zoom, one of Gigi's goals, and it's one of the reasons why we're reaching out and getting people's input on whether you'll be attending, is our goal is pretty much, Gigi spent a lot of time at this, is to have a 10 to 1 student to instructor ratio. And so we are not going to be sitting there with however many kids we have in camp in like at the screen you're looking at right now of a great big grid. We're going to be breaking into smaller groups with individual activities, and Gigi will be going over that, but that's what breakout rooms are for. As part of that, right now I'm serving as what we're going to call the Zoom attendant. We will have a full-time staff person whose only job all day long is managing Zoom. That's moving people into and out of rooms. If they get disconnected, reaching out, helping them get back on. So that, you know, we have sort of a IT staff who's supporting that element as well. And, you know, just a little feedback that I can give you with what we've seen. One interesting aspect that we've seen is that, that Zoom has given us is, if you've been to our studio, you know, it's really gorgeous and it's great, but it's also this big, large room. And when we want to break into groups and say, you guys go rehearse over there, you rehearse over there, they do, and they have to whisper, or people are too loud. We've been already using that and breaking people out into groups. And suddenly we have literally, you know, 5+ quiet rooms that people work on their own thing. And so it really is a cool experience. So, and on the plus side, there's, you know, there's always technical things, but on the plus side, it's great. And this leads me into talking about the shows. The downside is no one has really cracked the nut of doing music with someone in another location. It just does not work. And it's because of latency. And the best way I can describe it is Gigi is in the next room on the same network as I am. And when I hear her talking on this meeting, I hear about a second delay between that and that. Now think about if you're trying to sing with someone at the same time, then it's literally like, if anyone remembers back in the days of international phone calls, when there was that huge delay, that's what it's like on Zoom, but trying to sing. So with that in mind, I sat down with some friends in March when all of this happened, and we figured out how to write a musical where it's only solos or only individual scenes, or if in the next step, in the next musical I'm writing, there might be spoken scenes, but there won't be necessarily duets, because the coordination level there is just stunning. And to give you an idea, the show I wrote is called The Show Must Go Online, and it's already over 400 productions worldwide. So we figured out something that really works with that. So the idea is that we're embracing this medium. And so what we'll be doing is rehearsing the scenes, rehearsing the songs, having a lot of fun with it. There is a group number that we will do the bigger bells and whistles, right? Of like, you know, you send us the videos and you have no idea how much work happens on the back end to do that. So we'll have a couple of group numbers that we're working on, but for the most part, it's about, you know, people working a little more on the individual level, or possibly through the screen talking to each other, but the singing, it doesn't work. So the first show I wrote was The Show Must Go Online. As I say, it's been really successful. We're really excited about that. The next one is called Through the Screen. And I can't give too much away. I'm still working on it. But what I will say is that if you've seen some of those cool videos going around where someone passes a ball, throws it at the camera, and then someone catches a ball on the other end of the camera, and it looks like it's come through the screen, or someone, you know, punches the screen and someone like backs up, or someone passes a note. It's that idea of how are we connected through this, but actually kind of using that screen magic and threading it all together. So I'm already excited about the songs in it, and the shape of it. And I took the lessons I learned from the first piece I wrote, and I'm trying to bring it even more. So I think the idea is that what we'll do Show Must Go Online first 2 weeks of camp, right, Gigi?
Yeah.
And then that's a little more straightforward show. And then we'll do Through the Screen the second 2 weeks.
Right.
So I think I've spoken my piece.
And just so you know, it's not 2 separate camps. It's the 4-week camp with both shows. So, you know, we'll be introducing both shows.
Yeah, it's all coming to.
Yeah, and the same thing. Yeah. And just this morning, I heard the first set of lyrics for the new show, and it made me cry. So I think he's on the right track in a good way. He made me cry in a good way. So I think you're on the right track. Awesome. We're going to take a ton of questions later, and we're also going to talk about thank you for those folks who sent in questions. We're going to talk about those too. But I thought right now, we could get more into the kind of nitty gritty, and Dave's going to kind of share the screen with you on a day in the life, a sample day in the life of the Actors Garden Camp Online. This, of course, as everybody knows, this is a sample day. This will always change. Things will move back and forth like they do at our in-person camp as well. And especially when we get closer to, we don't really technically have a tech week, but as soon as we get closer to tech week, things would definitely change. And of course, we would get a daily schedule out. You know, your computer at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 in the morning will be that big board out front. So you would have a schedule every day. But if you look, everybody would come together like we are right now, just for a quick hi and a trivia announcement, letting everybody know what the trivia is, and just a quick chat about the day. We would start to break into groups at 9:15 approximately. Each rotation, as we're calling them, will be 35 minutes. So, and as Dave said, my goal is to not have more than 10 folks on the screen at the same time. So with that, we're just kind of ballparking. We don't know how many folks we're going to get, so this could change a little bit. You know, technically we had 78 sign up for in-person camp. We're saying if we get 60, then we would have 6 groups of 10. And each of these groups would go into a rotation. So, and I don't think we have to go through all the rotations. I don't want to waste your time with that, but I can start with the first one so you kind of get an idea. So just like we do an in-person camp, 10 folks, based on our number of 60, 10 folks would be with me working on the script. We would probably break it up in, one thing I'd say is our goal is to still be able to triple cast, so that we would have the 3 folks that were playing, let's say, Sarah, and those 3 folks, and maybe the 3 folks that would play Sam, they would all come with me and we do certain script work together. While that's happening, group 2, whoever those folks would be with Alex, either working on acting stuff or also additional script work. Where the next group might be working with Kim. I just use these names as examples. Kim's not there every day or anything like that, and we would do some vocal work. And the cool thing about, we've noticed too with our auditioning for musical theater class, is that, and Kim is teaching voice lessons online, and she has a full slate and has really figured out the best way to work vocally too, where she sends you the music so that you can sing the music. She's not playing it because, like Dave was talking, that latency issue, we figured out a way to kind of combat that. But anyway, so that would be another group. And then our lighting person at Dominican is going to join us. And I know one of the workshops that they're talking about is the best way to light your video projects, or the best way to set up your video projects. So that might be a special project. Then we would have one of our older lead counselors working on theater games maybe, or another lead counselor working on hands-on projects. So that would be for 35 minutes, right? And then we would take a 20-minute break, and that break could be whatever you want to do. You can go outside, you can do, read, you can do whatever you want. We're going to give our campers suggestions about fun things to do. We'll have little things that they can do if they want, and then come back to us at 10:10 after that. So like I said, we've put in, I think, 4 breaks throughout the day. Then same thing, second rotation, then everybody would move around. The cool thing is you don't have to do that. That's our Zoom coordinator. You'll just all of a sudden be in a new room. Instead of walking, you'll just arrive in that room. And then they would do the same thing. So, and again, I'm so excited about being able to have an IT person on the side, because then our artists can focus solely on your kids. They're not having to be an octopus trying to get everybody in their different places. They get to just sit there and do their thing for your kids. And we would have yet another break there, the same kind of thing. They could go away, they could do whatever they wanted, or they could do the activity that we suggested for them. And then again, we would do the third rotation. Everybody would move around again. Then we would all come back together just for a quick hi, a quick check-in, and then everybody would break for lunch. Obviously lunch would be at home, and that would be like 12-ish, 12:30. Then at 12:30, we would open the room back up for joke of the day, for riddle of the day, all the fun things that we always do at lunchtime. Campers can come anytime between 12:30 and 12:45. They don't have to come back at 12:30, but if they want to be part of joke of the day, they could come back at that point. And then at 12:50, we would start our 4th rotation. The same thing, we would move in different places. We'd take another break. And then just because of time, we will not take a break between 5th and 6th rotation, merely just because we're running out of time. And we want to make sure every rotation gets the same amount of time. And then everybody would come back together again for goodbye announcements. The trivia answer would be revealed, camp prize announcements, and students are welcome to leave the screen anytime after 3 p.m. But we will sign off with our signature goodbye every day at 3:15. So we have a little extra time. So the only upshot that way is parents aren't waiting in the lobby for me to dismiss your kids. So, so that's sort of the day in general. Like I said, this would change depending on how things are shaping up with the show and that kind of stuff. There may be a little bit of work outside of camp as well, only because there might be some video work that might need to be done outside of camp. But we're going to do our very best to help guide folks and videotape in the day, but there may be times, just like they have to learn lines off of camp, they would have to do the same thing with maybe videotaping. So that is a day in the life of an online actors camper, actors garden camper. So I thought we could take we would take maybe the questions that people provided with us, and then if you guys have any questions after that, feel free. But before I do that, Alex, I've been talking nonstop and you haven't gotten a chance to say anything. Is there anything you want to share?
Hi all, it's nice to see you guys again. Those of you who I haven't been seeing in class. I just wanted to throw out that, like Gigi said, we have had a great amount of fun in our online classes. And I know some of your kids are spending, or some of you, because I see a lot of campers here with us, you guys are spending a lot of time all day kind of tied to your screen doing e-learning right now. So I just want to throw out the promise that what we've been talking about isn't like that. In the same way that camp is always sort of, it's still 9 to 3, but it's not school. This is going to feel the same way. Instead of being tied to your screen, you'll have chances to move around, get up, move, still be kind of active, even if it is happening through Zoom. And so thus far, we've been able to do some of that with online classes. Yeah, that's what I got, Gigi.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so the first question we had was, a lot of questions were about the typical day. So hopefully I answered that, but if not, let me know and we can definitely answer them after this. Somebody asked about reducing the cost of camp. I don't know if they know, we did reduce the cost of camp to $650. So if somebody, whoever that was, needs to talk more about a reduction, let me know. But we thought we would pass the savings on to you because I don't have to rent the space at Dominican, which is, you know, and there's other costs that we won't have to incur this time. So we thought it would be nice to give you guys a little bit of a break too. If we have 2 campers online, could they Zoom together for part and then separate into their groups? Absolutely. And where possible, we'll keep siblings together unless they've asked not to. But there will also be times where they'll be in separate breakout rooms, which brings up the thing, and I think we mentioned this, if you have siblings in camp, we would need you on 2 separate computers for that specific reason for breakout rooms. If that's a problem, it's not a deal breaker, just let us know and we'll figure out how we can work around that. This one was clearly from a student. Can you make my parents commit to buying pizza on Friday? We wish we could. We tried really hard to figure out a way to do pizza deliveries, but I'm not sure that's gonna work. But if anybody has an idea, especially whoever asked this question, get back to me and we'll figure this out. Somebody said it's because having pizza on Fridays could impact my emotional growth. So, you know, we're all for that. This is also from a student. Can we have Halloween in summer? Already have an epic costume planned. Well, of course we're going to have Halloween in summer. Of course we're going to, if that's the theme that's picked. But yes, absolutely. Somebody asked if we could consider half days. I truly wish we could accommodate it. I think that it's tricky for us to try to work up individual schedules for people. I will say, I think that we get more breaks, that it's going to feel like almost like a half a day with the breaks in here. And the other thing about this is, because this show isn't as interdependent on each other as actors, you know, when we do a full show, when people are missing, boy, does the show feel it, or do the rehearsal processes feel it. But because this is more individual work to create a full show, you could, if you need a break, you know, if after, you know, 3 days or 4 days, you're like, oh, it's beautiful outside, I want to spend more time outside, you can come back. I mean, we don't want to make it so that people are coming and going all the time, but it does allow for maybe a day or 2 away from camp, if that makes sense. How will casting work? So I am looking at more than likely doing the audition, the song audition, and perhaps even the acting audition before the actual camp date. So whoever signs up for this camp, Alex and I and Kim and Jennifer and folks that are have involvement in casting, I think we will have smaller individual casting hours. So once we know how many folks are signed up, we would email you and say, this is great, we're so excited to have you, and we'll, you know, you're going to get tons of information leading up to this. but we'll also give you an audition time or an audition Zoom meeting that you would come in and do. So I think I just felt that it would be difficult to try to do our craziness first day audition when it's all going to be so unique and different for us anyway. So I'd rather have us all ease into that and maybe even start that as early as June 1st and kind of just ease in. And then by June 15th, we're ready to rock and roll. So that's kind of what I'm looking at this point. What material or apps for online commitments will be needed for summer camp virtual session? We're going to be providing materials for all of our projects. So once we have a firm grasp on all of our summer participants and our summer plans, we will be delivering like a little care package of all sorts of materials, you know, costume pieces that you get to do for a costume project, or I'm really excited about this lighting thing. We may be bringing, you know, delivering scoops to your door, or all sorts, you know, lighting scoops, or all sorts of different things. We'll have a full package that will be delivered to your door so that when we say, okay, remember in your box you have this, and so you'll pull that out and you'll have, and we'll work on that for a project. And probably throughout the summer we'll go, oh, we forgot, we need to, you know, we're going to do a new project, and we would deliver those to your door as well. The apps, pretty much your tablet or laptop, and the camera app that comes with your smartphone in the house is really all we need for that. Will there be any personal? Yes, we talked about that. What type of equipment do you need at home? Dave says, at least a newer iPad or a decent laptop with a webcam. A smartphone will be used for filming the students' scenes. Dave will be sending out detailed technical recommendations, the best way to set up your home and optimize. So yeah, as we move on, you guys will get a whole bunch of information about that. Let me see. If the stage becomes available, would the play be able to transition? As I said, we're thinking that right now it'll probably stay here for 4 weeks. We have a contingency in place, and it would not be at Dominican this first session, more than likely. But we do have a contingency in place if that was the case. So I think at this point, that is all I have as far as questions go. Does anybody?
I do have to say, this is sort of a funny story about Zoom. If you've worked on Zoom, you're probably aware it has a chat feature. Well, I realized I hadn't enabled it tonight because we've actually had some classes where, just like in real school, we've had students who decided that they wanted to pass notes through the chat feature and weren't paying attention. And we turned that off, and I forgot to turn it on tonight. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and I will call on you and unmute you. And I'm looking at 2 screens. We have 40 people in. So if I see a hand raised.
Fantastic.
Kristen Malik, it looks like, no. Nikita, sorry. Nikita, if you want to, let me find you. All right, here we go. Unmuting. What's the question?
I would like to know what the show will be about. Like, what's the basic story?
Great question.
Which, the Show Must Go Online or the other one?
Yeah.
Show Must Go Online, it's sort of a art meets life thing. It starts, so I'll set it up this way. The students were doing a fabulous play, and the name of the play was Brushes with Greatness, the dental hygiene musical. And then the drama teacher comes on and says, kids, I have to tell you, the school's closed, the show is off. And then the kids get together online and decide we need to convince the teacher to do the show. And so we go through them convincing, to dress rehearsals, to the final performance of the show.
It's silly fun. Yes.
Watching, okay, 1 second. The Hansons, if you can unmute yourselves. Geraldine Hanson. You there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is the show, will it just be a recorded something that is online for people to view at their leisure, or will there actually be some sort of a live event?
So there will be a live event. So the way the show's designed, and both shows will be pretty much the same way, is we'll be working on it, rehearsing it, getting a final video. Then the students upload the videos and they're sequential. And then we will be putting them together in a movie. And then the Friday after camp, we'll be having a live viewing party with everyone in camp, inviting everyone, grandparents, everyone, and it'll be streamed either on YouTube or Vimeo. And, it'll be one of those big old live events, and we'll encourage popcorn and all of that stuff too.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
I think Dave Nora has one too.
So are the boxes going to be delivered like before camp starts?
Yes. Yeah.
And
then you might have some throughout camp too.
Okay.
We were potentially considering not necessarily being here in Oak Park for the whole duration of the camp to allow us to separate our two campers by visiting grandparents, for example. So we just were kind of wondering if that would be, it might be problematic for delivery of prizes of the day, but if there were like essential camp equipment that we needed in advance, we might.
Sure, we could we could talk individually, and if we could send it that, to whatever location that was, if it's out of,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Looks like we have a pretty respectful group. So if you have a question, just unmute yourself.
I think Amy?
Hi,
Hi,
I'm
Amy.
for Maura, who
Yeah.
has lost her voice.
I
apparently. She would like to know if there are going to be multiple casts.
Ideally, yes, depending on how many folks sign up. There would definitely, we're hoping to have either double or triple casting. And then the cool thing is, because I love this, because we're doing 2 shows this time, you will be in 2 separate shows with 2 separate casts, which could be really fun. Yeah. All right. Are there other questions? I thought. Owen!
Hey, I just wanted to know, how are props gonna work necessarily? Like, so I just didn't know, because are they gonna be like common objects, or are we gonna have them in the boxes? So.
Yeah.
You know what? That's such a great question. It's probably going to be a combination of both. We'll definitely do, we're going to do some fun things with, sorry, my clock's going off. We'll be doing some fun, found object props. But we'll also be making some props. So some of the materials that will help make those props will be in that box. But then there might also be, with a show called Brushes with Greatness, the dental hygiene musical, there's got to be some toothbrush activity going on, right? So we'll be doing, so some of the props will actually be found objects from home as well.
Can I hop in on this, Gigi? One of the classes we're doing right now is actually a performance-based class, which we had scheduled before all of this and are using it sort of as a testing plate. I know a couple of you who are in here right now are in that class, and we did found object costuming for that class. You'd be amazed what you actually have in your house. We have managed to create costumes that look like they come right out of the 70s, the 40s, just out of things that people have been able to cobble together from their own closets without needing to cut, destroy, sew, any of those things. And part of the joy of costuming is sort of finding objects and turning them into something new. And the joy of prop making is sort of similar. So we're gonna all of our campers are going to get a chance to learn some true costuming trades, some true prop trades, because you'll be able to do some found object hunting.
Well, and Alec is really geeking out about this because she has wanted to do a found object prop class forever. So she's finally getting her wish. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Okay,
you bet.
hang on, we have Faith over there. 1 second. Go ahead.
Our question is, how many people are going to be in each in each session?
We don't know yet. We're waiting, understandably so. Some families are opting to maybe not want to do this because for many reasons. So right now, if everything was, we had 78 folks signed up for this camp. At this point right now, it looks like we have, Dave, am I right, about 20 folks saying they're going to go forward with this?
Well, right now, we
Right
gave
now.
everyone, we gave
No,
everyone
I
the
know.
15th. We gave
No,
everyone the-
yes, everybody
yeah.
gets a chance. They don't have to decide until the 15th. But, you know, so we do, my point being, I don't know how many folks are going to sign up, but once we know, then we'd let everybody know. It can be anywhere from 20, which we have right now, to 78 or 75. Does that make sense?
Yeah. John,
I'm
if you wanna
I'm
unmute?
sorry, go ahead.
I was talking because of the pizza situation. We might be able to do something on it front,
Oh,
depending on how many are involved.
Okay. Well, more on that, folks. Thank you.
John Slocum?
Thanks. And first of all, Gigi, Dave, Alex, I should not be surprised that you're approaching this with the same level of imagination and enthusiasm that you always have brought to this. So thank you.
Thank you.
I did have a question, which is whether you will be opening up the camps then if the numbers did drop for people who, either, for whatever reason didn't sign up or couldn't sign up before.
Yeah, we have talked about that. I would say yes. If there are folks that are still interested in joining, I mean, it's such a tenuous answer, I know, but I would say yes, we will consider it if we have availability, and I believe we probably will have some availability. Yeah. And thank you for that comment. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Any other questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Is there a way if you decide to do skip a part of it for the day, will it be recorded at all? Or I'm just wondering if you miss the joke of the day or if you miss the end session, if that will be available or anything like that.
Dave, we just upgraded our recording capabilities. Would that be something we could do every day, Dave?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Really, it is. And I think that we'll take a look at how we could store these archives and keep them available as much as possible. But, we're juggling the fact that there's, 60 sessions a day. But we'll take a look at that and see if we can save those things, maybe even the special ones like the jokes, and if we can maybe put together a greatest hits of that or something.
I'm just thinking that lunchtime specifically, because sure. I'm thinking that half hour, I know to me seems really short. And so I'm just thinking my girls probably would want the whole hour. So they probably would not come back till 1 o'clock, or rather than that. I just knowing lunch in our family, I just don't see us doing it in half an hour.
Sure. No,
so
absolutely. If anything, we could definitely record that lunchtime. That would be very easy. And I know somebody also asked at one point, would our room be open during lunchtime so kids could, share lunch with their friends online? We had talked about it. I'm still on the fence about that because I think everybody needs a break at that point. If I feel like it might be something folks might want to do, we might open up the room a little bit earlier so that you can eat lunch and chat with your friends while you're eating lunch. But we've also thought maybe we could encourage you, if you really want to, you could find another platform to do it, because my counselors may need a break at that point as well. So that one is a TBA, just for, at this point, I'm still trying to noodle that one. Is there any other?
It looks like Lucy Treese has a question.
During the breaks, are we still gonna be on Zoom, or will we leave the meeting?
You can just walk away from the meeting or leave the meeting. There'll still be somebody on Zoom there. So if you feel like, you know, if you really don't feel like taking a break, you could still be there and chatting with, you know, Alex or me or you know, one of our counselors. But you can just leave the meeting.
I guess you could ask you.
Yeah, but to be, not to get too into the weeds here, but the Zoom meeting, we will probably sort of send out one a day. You know, you'll get that link and it'll stay open. It's just easier than having to drop off and sign back in. We've been working with other companies and stuff, and it just tends to make more sense to have that stay open.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, like if we would, can you and like one of your friends stay on and talk during the breaks?
I'm gonna say, yeah, maybe. Let me think about that, but I think we could figure that out.
Okay.
That's a great question. Alex is writing it down right now as we speak, so we're gonna revisit that one.
Okay.
Are there gonna be cast names?
Why, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And t-shirts. And colors, of course. Great question, Reese. Victoria?
Go ahead, Annika.
Hello.
Hello, Annika.
Hi. I was wondering if it's gonna be like everybody in the same group, like the whole time, the whole day, or are we gonna like go into breakout rooms and stuff? Because I know that we've done that with like school and stuff. So are we gonna go into breakout rooms and like work in like casts and like groups as casts, or are we just gonna stay together?
Yes, you will. Yes. So I don't know if you saw the sample. Were you on when we showed the sample schedule?
No, we were a little bit late.
Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna do breakout rooms. We'll probably do, depending on the numbers, 6 breakout rooms, and you'll rotate throughout the day on those breakout rooms, either being separated by casts or being separated by characters, just like we do in online camp. I mean, on in-person camp.
She says cool.
Excellent. I know there are so many more questions yet to be answered that we haven't even figured out all those questions. And that's why, you know, if this is for you, you will be getting lots of material, probably much more than you did even when we did it, you know, in person. We'll continue to send things out to you. But the one thing I want to say is we totally respect and understand anybody's decision. Everybody's coming at this from different perspectives, and I totally understand. So if after tonight or leading up to May 15th, you decide this might not be for us, we totally get it. But if it is, we are going to do everything we can to make this an incredibly special camp. You know, it's obviously not what we all anticipated, but I think we're going to all remember it. when it's all is said and done, this is going to be one for the record books, obviously. And we're going to do everything we can to make it, you know, as much fun as we do when we get to see each other. So, you know, yes.
Question. Are we, I see that you're recording this session, and will, because I have a number of friends who couldn't make this call and are still trying to make up their minds. I'd love to share your schedule with them, or maybe are you planning to share the schedule and this Zoom and all sorts of things like that for people still deciding?
We are, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why we record it. We'll send that out to everybody. Yeah. 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 See anybody else? No? Well, of course, if you have questions after we get off, feel free to email me, and I'll get right back to you. But unless Dave, Alex, you have anything else? No?
Thanks for attending. This has been great. You know, we had 40 people online. It was amazing.
I know. That's fantastic.
It's great to see you all. Even
It is so great to see your faces. Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody. And hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.